Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today's the last Saturday of the month, which means it's a book review. And also means that I'm going to present to you the new book suggestion for the next month. I hope you enjoy. I hope that by the end of the video, you like this video and comment down below, maybe with another book suggestion, maybe with ideas, what we can do in terms of this channel. And I hope you enjoy. So let's go. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you read the book. And in case you did, I hope you liked it. That's the book we read, Onward by Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz is a very successful man, owner, founder. I say he's the founder of Starbucks. However, he's not the founder, but he's the guy who took Starbucks to the place it is today, and it is already part of the book. I want to start already with this thing moving. Reading the book, I noticed that it is very different comparing to the other kinds of books I'm gonna read this year, and to books we can also talk about the story and etc. This is a very business book, and by business book I mean it's a book that we understand the story of Starbucks, the story of Howard Schultz, but also how he handled all those things, how he got Starbucks to the place it is today. So it has a lot of business tips and behaviors and things that he was excited about, and therefore put Starbucks in a very high shelf today in the business world. Howard Schultz, according to the Forbes magazine, 2021, over $5 billion net worth. So I think he knows one thing or two about business and how to create and start and develop a big company like Starbucks. The thing I find difficult to introduce in a book review in a book like this is the fact that, again, it's his story and the ways he treated Starbucks. But I would like to point out a couple of things from this book. The first time I've been to Starbucks was in January 2008, which was 13 years ago. And to be completely honest, I didn't understand why the fuss was all about, because I didn't enjoy the coffee. I didn't think it was very good. I thought the experience was very okay, because back in my city, in Porto Alegre, in the southern state of Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul, I remember maybe having 2 or 3 better coffee shops than Starbucks who are not nearly as famous or as big or as important. But okay, because for me, the experience of going to a coffee shop and having a nice cup of coffee was something that I value a lot. So the first time I went to Starbucks, I wasn't feeling it, and after reading the book, I completely know the reason. Starbucks went through a very impressive time with Howard Schultz until 2000, when he was the CEO, president and CEO of the company. Then from 2000 to 2007, actually the beginning of 2008, he stepped out of being CEO. He was just the president and owner, etc. And Starbucks grew like crazy. It was already famous and was already big, and they were opening new stores all over the world, not just in America. In Japan I believe was the first store outside of the United States. And now the experience about going to Starbucks and having a cup of coffee or a frappuccino was very different. Howard Schultz makes it very clear that it wasn't because he wasn't the CEO that the company, on the way he says, went downhill in terms of the experience of drinking coffee. He's actually part of the problem, as he says. But after reading the way he envisioned and the way Starbucks was until 2000, and the way it changed after he stepped out of being CEO, I completely understand why my experience in the beginning of 2008 was not good. From small and simple things like having the smell of coffee in the coffee shop instead of the smell of cheese, of sandwiches, and etc. From the time and from seeing the barista actually preparing your coffee or cappuccino or whatever, these things, they went away because they were so worried about developing and growing and having more stores and having more places wherever it was. And they, for some reason, they forgot this very important thing about going to a coffee shop with it, which is smelling the coffee. The Starbucks was already gigantic, and it was already a big company worth billions of dollars, making billions of dollars in revenue each year. But because of this whole experience was going downhill, he decided to step up again as a CEO in the beginning of 2008. So many things changed, and that's the first thing I want to say about a specific thing about the book, which is the way they decided to deal with this problem. The training of baristas and the way the experience should improve. They decided one thing impressive that was very crazy back then. They decided to close all Starbucks stores all over the country so they could have an online training. So from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., all stores closed, and they received a DVD player along with the video so they could have this new training. Because training is part of he makes this very clear in his book. Training is part of the process of creating something that is fresh, creating something that is, the experience is amazing. And why the experience is so important is good coffee we can find anywhere. Maybe not anywhere, but we can find it in so many places, so many different coffee shops, and so many different. You can go to a supermarket and buy a nice, grain of coffee or grounded coffee. But anyways, the experience is what makes the drinking coffee at a coffee shop an important and nice thing. The thing is that stepping up as a CEO when you're the president of the company, it is not as easy as one should think, in case you're not anywhere familiar with business. Because if you're the president and you're not the CEO, that means you have a CEO already. And now you need to fire the CEO, and so you can step up. So that was a very tense moment in the book, tense moment of his story and his life and his friendship with this CEO who was in front of Starbucks before he step up again. And so these things make me want to understand more about how business work and how these things are actually created. And it is so nice and interesting. Just as a very small understanding, in case you don't know, he talks about in the beginning of the book, he founded the Starbucks, and I say founded again because he didn't actually found this. Let me talk about the story of this of the company. Starbucks was a very famous and big coffee house back in Seattle, instead of Washington, in the United States. Howard Schultz, being from New York, when he moved to Seattle, and he opened his own coffee shop called Il Giornale, something like this. It's an Italian name. I don't know how to pronounce it. He went there, and after some time, he actually bought Starbucks. And maybe you should think, he bought Starbucks. Now he's gonna change the name of Starbucks to Il Giornale or whatever. But no, he did the opposite. He actually turned his stores, and they all became Starbucks. And that's how everything grew, everything exploded, and this whole thing that I talked about, experience of drinking coffee, came to life. It is a great book. It's a very nice story. It's a very nice to understanding how the mind of a guy who is such a visionary and the way he portrayed the story of Starbucks, and his story is so very well put in this book. And I hope you enjoyed it if you read. If you haven't, now you still have the opportunity. It costs maybe like $20 on Amazon. So you just go there and buy it. But now, forget about this book. And let's go to the book review. Actually, not the book review yet, but the book suggestion for the month of June. And here it is. Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. I don't know if it's Atul or Atul Gawande. He's a doctor. I can say by now he's a doctor. He's a surgeon. And this book is considered one of the most important books for pre-med students, medical students, doctors, people who love this environment of medicine, because it talks about death and how we experience death in medical school and or like pre-med students, and how we should learn and understand the different ways people face death because of cancer, because of another disease, another illness that is going to diminish your quality of life. I bought this book and arrived so fast from Amazon, and I was supposed to start reading just this week, the first week of June. And by the time you're watching this video, maybe I have already finished reading. But I'm gonna read it again because this is the kind of book that we have to read and then have to study and make notes and take notes. And that's what I'm doing. I've just started. I was just going to read the intro, but then I ended up reading the first 3 chapters. Such a nice reading. Let me read what it says here at the back cover. Modern medicine has transformed the dangers of birth, injury, and infectious disease from harrowing to manageable. But when it comes to the inescapable realities of aging and death, what medicine can do often runs counter to what it should do. Through eye-opening research and gripping stories of his own patients and family, Gawande reveals the suffering produced by medicine's neglect of the wishes people might have beyond mere survival. To find out what those wishes are, we need to ask. We haven't been asking, but we can learn. Reviving, honest, and humane, this remarkable book, which has already changed the national conversation on aging and death, shows how the ultimate goal is not a good death but a good life, all the way to the very end. Number 1 bestseller on the New York Times. You can just imagine how great this book is, and by the first chapters, I guarantee it's a great book. So yeah, medicine and what matters in the end, Be Immortal by Atul Gawande. That's the book suggestion for the month of June. And that's the video for today. I hope you enjoy. Please, if you did, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also comment down below. Next week, we have a music video. Yeah, that's right. If you haven't noticed yet, I'm also a musician. I play the drums. And the first Saturday of every month, it's going to be a music video. So please stay tuned and subscribe to my channel so you can check this out as soon as it's available. Okay? So see you next week.